Sam Altman, OpenAI, and the rest of the gang replied to Elon Musk. Elon Musk wanted to see some of the classified documents at OpenAI, but I don't think he wanted this out because they posted all of his communications with OpenAI, all of the emails, all the details. But yeah, let's get into it one thing at a time. First and foremost, so up until this point, Sam Altman didn't really comment anything on the lawsuit. Everybody was expecting something at least, but Sam Altman was strangely quiet. He did say this one thing. So here's his own tweet. This is 2019, so this is a while back. But he's saying it's gross seeing so many root against Tesla. Be the person on the side of the climate and the innovation, not the person hoping to make money on puts, aka the investors that were betting on Tesla stock to go down. Also, betting against Elon is historically a mistake, and the best product usually wins. So this was from a time when it seemed like they were getting along and on the same page about stuff. Elon Musk replies, "Thanks, Sam." Again, 2019. And now, 5 years later, after the lawsuit is filed, Elon wants to hash everything out in court, jury trial, reveal everything. Sam Altman responds, "Anytime," and salutes. So OpenAI, the official blog of OpenAI, posts this: OpenAI and Elon Musk. "We are dedicated to the OpenAI mission and have pursued it every step of the way." The authors on this paper are Greg Brockman, interestingly, Ilya Sutskever, John Schulman, Sam Altman, and Wojciech Zaremba. If I mispronounced that, blame Lex Friedman, he said it. And the final kind of author is OpenAI as a whole. So they're all listed here, tagged here as authors. So the mission of OpenAI is to ensure AGI benefits all of humanity, which means both building safe and beneficial AGI and helping create broadly distributed benefits. We are now sharing what we've learned about achieving our mission and some facts about our relationship with Elon. We intend to move to dismiss all of Elon's claims, meaning they're going to try to get the case thrown out. We realized building AGI will require far more resources than we'd initially imagined. Elon said we should announce an initial $1 billion funding commitment to OpenAI. In total, the nonprofit has raised less than $45 million from Elon and more than $90 million from other donors. When starting OpenAI in late 2015, Greg and Sam had initially planned to raise $100 million. Elon said in an email, "We need to go with a much bigger number than $100 million to avoid sounding hopeless. I think we should say that we are starting with a $1 billion funding commitment. I will cover whatever anyone else doesn't provide." And they link a source here. We'll come back to that in a second. We spent a lot of time trying to envision a plausible path to AGI. In early 2017, we came to the realization that building AGI will require vast quantities of compute. We began calculating how much compute an AGI might plausibly require. We all understood we were going to need a lot more capital to succeed at our mission. Billions of dollars per year, which was far more than any of us, especially Elon, thought we'd be able to raise as the nonprofit. We and Elon recognized a for-profit entity would be necessary to acquire those resources. As we discussed a for-profit structure, in order to further the mission, Elon wanted us to merge with Tesla. So Tesla kind of acquiring OpenAI and just it being part of Tesla, or Elon Musk, wanted full control. Elon left OpenAI saying there needed to be a relevant competitor to Google/DeepMind, and that he was going to do it himself. He said he'd be supportive of us finding our own path. In late 2017, we and Elon decided the next step for the mission was to create a for-profit entity. Elon wanted majority equity, initial board control, and to be CEO. In the middle of these discussions, he withheld funding. Reid Hoffman stepped in to bridge the gap to cover salaries and operation. Reid Hoffman was one of the original investors. Some screenshots from early OpenAI days from the website show his name, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, etc. We couldn't agree to terms on a for-profit with Elon because we felt it was against the mission for any individual to have absolute control over OpenAI. He then suggested instead merging OpenAI into Tesla. In early February 2018, Elon forwarded us an email suggested that OpenAI should attach to Tesla as its cash cow, commenting that it was exactly right. Tesla is the only path that could even hope to hold a candle to Google. Even then, the probability of being a counterweight to Google is small. It just isn't zero. And here they're referencing Exhibit 2. We'll get to that in a second. Elon soon chose to leave OpenAI, saying that our probability of success was 0, and that he planned to build an AGI competitor within Tesla. When he left in late February 2018, he told our team he was supportive of us finding our own path to raising billions of dollars. In December 2018, Elon sent us an email saying, even raising several hundred million won't be enough. This needs billions per year, immediately, or just forget about it. The referencing 3. OpenAI continues, we advance our mission by building widely available beneficial tools. We're making our technology broadly usable in ways that empower people and improve their daily lives, including via open source contributions. We provide broad access to today's most powerful AI, including a free version that hundreds of millions of people use every day. For example, Albania is using OpenAI's tools to accelerate its EU accession by as much as 5.5 years. Digital Green is helping boost farmer income in Kenya and India by dropping the cost of agricultural extension services 100-fold by building on OpenAI. Lifespan, the largest healthcare provider in Rhode Island, uses GPT-4 to simplify its surgical consent forms from a college reading level to a 6th grade one. Iceland is using GPT-4 to preserve the Icelandic language. Elon understood the mission did not imply open sourcing AGI. That's an interesting point. So that seems to be directly in contradiction to what Elon's saying. So Elon understood the mission did not imply open sourcing AGI. And as Ilya Sutskever told Elon, as we get closer to building AI, it will make sense to start being less open. The open in OpenAI means that everyone should benefit from the fruits of AI after it's built. But it's totally okay to not share the science. To which Elon replied, yep. They're referencing 4 here, which we'll see in just a second. And they're saying, we're sad that it's come to this with someone whom we've deeply admired, someone who inspired us to aim higher, then told us we would fail, started a competitor, and then sued us when we started making meaningful progress towards OpenAI's mission without him. We are focused on advancing our mission, and we have a long way to go. As we continue to make our tools better and better, we are excited to deploy these systems so that they empower every individual. And here they present sort of Exhibit 1. So this is an email from Elon Musk to Greg Brockman with Sam Altman CC'd on there. So it sounds like from what we know, Elon, Greg, and Sam were kind of the original 3 that kind of started this whole ball rolling. And this is from November 22nd, 2015. The subject is follow-up from the call. So Elon Musk is saying blog sounds good, assuming adjustments for neutrality versus being YC-centric. So it sounds like he didn't want this presented as being part of Y Combinator, which is, I think, what Sam was running at the time, and being more neutral. He continues, I'd favor positioning the blog to appeal a bit more to the general public. There's a lot of value to having the public root for us to succeed, and then having a longer, more detailed and inside baseball version for recruiting, with a link to it at the end of the general public version. We need to go with a much bigger number than 100 million to avoid sounding hopeless relative to what Google or Facebook are spending. I think we should say that we are starting with a $1 billion funding commitment. This is real. I will cover whatever anyone else does not provide. I mean, that's pretty clear cut. He's saying this is real. He's basically committing to, if not the full 1 billion, I mean, he's basically committing to the full 1 billion, basically saying, I'll get us to 1 billion, get everybody else on board, and I'll cover whatever it takes to get us to 1 billion. The template seems fine apart from shifting to a vesting cash bonus as default, which can be optionally be turned into Y Combinator or potentially SpaceX. Need to understand how much this will be, stock. So basically some funding or equity structure with Y Combinator or potentially SpaceX involved, granting a stock potentially. Then the second revealed email is from Elon Musk to Ilya Sutskever and Greg Brockman. So this is February 1st, 2018. So this is years later. So Elon is forwarding them something with the subject line of top AI institutions today. So he's saying blank, so somebody's name is blanked out, is exactly right. We may wish it otherwise, but in my and blank's opinion, Tesla is the only path that could even hope to hold a candle to Google. So I tried to figure out who they're referencing here. It's not clear. This isn't public. So he's saying that person is right. We may wish it otherwise, but in there's, in my opinion, Tesla is the only path that could even hope to hold a candle to Google. Even then, the probability of being a counterweight to Google is small. It just isn't zero. So he's saying if OpenAI goes on their path, there's a zero chance that it's going to be a reasonable competitor to Google. If it gets scooped up into Tesla, there might be a chance. And so this is from X to Elon Musk. And it begins, working at the cutting edge of AI is unfortunately expensive. For example, and then there's a few lines that are blocked out. In addition to DeepMind, Google also has Google Brain, Research, and Cloud, and TensorFlow, TPUs, tensor processing units, kind of their own version of the AI chips. So like NVIDIA's GPUs, but different architecture, different uses. And they own about a third of all research. In fact, they hold their own AI conferences. They continue, I also strongly suspect that compute horsepower will be necessary, and possibly even sufficient. I also strongly suspect that compute horsepower will be necessary, and possibly even sufficient to reach AGI. If historical trends are any indication, progress in AI is primarily driven by systems. Compute, data, infrastructure. The core algorithms we use today have remained largely unchanged from the 90s. Not only that, but any algorithmic advances published in a paper somewhere can be almost immediately re-implemented and incorporated. Conversely, algorithmic advances alone are inert without the scale to also make them scary. It seems to me that OpenAI today is burning cash and that the funding model cannot reach the scale to seriously compete with Google, an $800 billion company. If you can't seriously compete, but continue to do research in the open, you might in fact be making things worse and helping them out for free, because any advances are fairly easy for them to copy and immediately incorporate at scale. A for-profit pivot might create a more sustainable revenue stream over time and would, with the current team, likely bring in a lot of investment. However, building out a product from scratch would steal focus from AI research. It would take a long time, and it's unclear if a company could catch up to Google's scale, and investors might exert too much pressure in the wrong directions. The most promising option I can think of, as I mentioned earlier, would be for OpenAI to attach to Tesla as its cash cow. I believe attachments to other large suspects, like Apple or Amazon, would fail due to an incompatible company DNA. Using a rocket analogy, Tesla already built the first stage of the rocket with the whole supply chain of Model 3 and its onboard computer and a persistent internet connection. The second stage would be a full self-driving solution based on large-scale neural network training, which OpenAI expertise could significantly help accelerate. With a functioning full self-driving solution in 2 to 3 years, we could sell a lot of cars/trucks. If we do this really well, the transportation industry is large enough that we can increase Tesla's market cap. So this is a notation I think that they're using here, the big O notation. So I'm not 100% sure, but it sounds like Tesla was at around 60 billion market cap around that time. So I'm not exactly sure here if it's hundreds of billions or to a trillion. But the point is, it would get large enough to use that revenue to fund the AI work at the appropriate scale. I'm sure somebody in the comments will explain. But I cannot see anything else that has the potential to reach sustainable Google scale capital within a decade. By the way, let me know in the comments if you know who this person is, or if you have a guess. I mean, it's someone that uses this notation, so I'm guessing somebody that uses this notation might be a computer scientist, computer programmer. They seem to have a lot of knowledge in AI and like the history of AI. Also, how this starts, they're saying, for example, blah, 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 in addition to DeepMind. So this is about DeepMind. So if this goes, for example, over here at DeepMind, this is how much money we spend, or whatever resource we have access to, then maybe this is Demis Hassabis. If you have a guess, let me know. But as I think about this, this letter also says we could sell a lot of cars or trucks. If we do this really well, the transportation industry is large enough that we could increase Tesla's market cap. So more likely this is somebody inside Tesla. In the Elon Musk lawsuit, Demis plays a part in there. He's mentioned multiple times. So we know he's somewhere in the background of all of this. So not sure exactly what role he's playing, but he was in communication with Elon Musk at some point. And then this is the third exhibit. So it's from Elon Musk to Ilya and Greg. Sam Altman is CC'd on there, as well as someone else that we can't see. And this is December 2018. So at the end of that year, at the end of the same year that they were talking about this. This was beginning of the year, and this is the end of the year 2018. Elon Musk says, I feel I should reiterate my probability assessment of OpenAI being relevant to DeepMind/Google without a dramatic change in execution and resources is 0%, not 1%. I wish it were otherwise. So he's saying OpenAI on its current course has zero chance of doing anything relevant in this arena. He's saying even raising several hundred million won't be enough. This needs billions per year immediately or forget it. Unfortunately, humanity's future is in the hands of blank. My guess is Larry Page, co-founder of Google. Then there's a blanked outline, and Elon continues, and they are doing a lot more than this. A few blanked outlines. Then he says, I really hope I'm wrong, Elon. Then Exhibit 4 is called Congrats on the Falcon 9. So Elon Musk is forwarding a message that he received, looks like. So he's forwarding it to Sam Altman, Ilya, Sutskever, Greg Brockman. And this is January 2nd, 2016. So this is a few years before the previous letter. And the message begins, so we don't know who it's from, but it was originally to Elon Musk. He is forwarding it to, the main people at OpenAI. And it begins, Hi, Elon. Happy New Year to you, I'm guessing in the family, maybe the kids, I don't know. Congratulations on landing the Falcon 9. What an amazing achievement. Time to build out the fleet now. I've seen you and Sam and other OpenAI people doing a lot of interviews recently extolling the virtues of open sourcing AI. But I presume you realize that this is not some sort of panacea that will somehow magically solve the safety problem. There are many good arguments as to why the approach you are taking is actually very dangerous, and in fact may increase the risk to the world. Some of the more obvious points are well articulated in this blog post that I'm sure you've seen, but there are also other important considerations. So he's posting Slate Star Codex, so I'll put this in the links. So this was posted end of 2015 by Scott Alexander, and it's titled, Should AI Be Open? We might do a deep dive at a later time, but basically it kind of talks about that just thinking about open sourcing everything would be kind of silly, would not solve any of the safety issues. And it finishes up saying, basically, OpenAI project seems like an act of desperation, like Dr. Good needing some kind of high-risk, high-reward strategy to push himself ahead and allow at least some amount of safety research to take place. And this letter ends with, I would be interested to hear your counter-arguments to these points. Best, and the name is again blanked out. Next, Ilya Sutskever responds to Elon Musk, Sam, Greg Brockman. So he's responding about this letter that was forwarded to them. And he's saying this article, I'm not going to do the Ilya accent. He's saying the article is concerned with a hard takeoff scenario. If a hard takeoff occurs and a safe AI is harder to build than an unsafe one, then by open sourcing everything, we make it easy for someone unscrupulous with access to overwhelming amount of hardware to build an unsafe AI, which will experience a hard takeoff. As we get closer to building AI, it will make sense to start being less open. The open in OpenAI means that everyone should benefit from the fruits of AI after it's built. But it's totally okay not to share the science, even though sharing everything is definitely the right strategy in the short and possibly medium term for recruitment purposes. So this is 2016, very early on, where Ilya's kind of saying, yeah, we're probably not going to open source AGI. Not in those words, but certainly that seems to be his point. Elon Musk responds with, yep. So I'm trying to get some more data, some more inside info on what's going on. On one hand, I'm happy that we're getting such a deep inside look into how this company was formed. It's almost like kind of like having a time machine and being able to look at the emails and how different people thought about it. I'd be curious to know more about what role Ilya is playing in this whole thing. He's listed as one of the authors on there. I wonder if some sort of peace agreement has been reached, maybe some way for him to find himself back to OpenAI. We haven't heard anything as far as I can tell on that front. At the same time, kind of sad that this is reduced to lawsuits and fighting. Certainly, I'd be much more happier if all of these people would be aligned and working in the same direction. But it is incredible that we're witnessing all this unfold in front of our eyes, that we are alive and able to witness all of this happening. And the chances of that must be astronomical. I mean, either that, or this whole thing is a simulation and everything's kind of just unfolding according to plan. Either way, super exciting. My name is Wes Roth, and thank you for watching.